All right. I was looking through my YouTube channel and comments and the people have made over the last week and just going over some of them. Beautiful. The voice suffocated when the shot fails. It's probably me going, just a bit outside. My teammates, this is the funniest stuff ever. Hold on. My teammates, let's see if it's still on here, if it switched pages on me. Des changed his. My teammate Kyle put on, what is your favorite autism? And they have a bunch of stuff that this is the funniest stuff ever. I think this is probably one of the most awesome things that's ever happened to me. But it is absolutely hilarious. Rubbing the nubs. Yeah, nobody ever came up with a name for them, so I've been doing this for a long time. So that was just the deal. In the drink. I don't want to get into them too much because I may start feeling self-conscious about them, and I that's just what I say, man. I'm surprised the one that didn't make the list was my nephew's No Bueno. That's no bueno. All right. Need your opinion. I'm thinking of trying an expert training, and I have APOC 5, Cat 5, Sniper 10, Hornet, Thorn at 8. Finished second twice, third twice, and one gold in pro. I don't know if I should move up. Any thoughts? And I wrote a comment on here. If you feel like if you have the time to practice and want to play expert, if you're already playing pro, you're already familiar with the second tees. The only thing different is the wind's higher. And I will tell you that in expert, there's typically at least one hole where the wind is going contrary, like what we really need on that hole is tailwind. And in expert, there's one hole that the wind's not blowing good for us. There's always at least one of those holes. The wind changes from one tour to the next, one bracket division to the next. But in expert, there's always at least one hole that it's not running right. The main thing about expert is not to forget what you learned in pro. The deal is when I talk about minimum score, I'm not talking about like what it'll take to win. I'm talking about what it'll take, number one, to make the weekend round, and what will set you up. If you can't shoot that score, you're not going to get the score that you need to win. So if you go into the expert with the idea of, hey, we need to shoot a 24 here. Let's play conservative and stay on the 24 track and not get caught up in one of these par fours where you're taking a big risk, or these par fives where you're taking a big risk. And if you get in trouble, you're in big trouble. You play to the spot where you can get on the green, you can move along, you can get that eagle. It may not give you the Albie shot that some other people are getting, but the people who are going for Albie, you got to remember, some people are going for Albie and they end up getting a birdie because they went for Albie. And that number of people versus how many people got the eagle is probably about the same. So if you come in there and you get that consistent score and you're putting yourself in the right spot and giving yourself a look, you're going to be ahead. Every one of those holes that has that opportunity to fail, you're going to be ahead of those people because you came in and shot the minimum score. If you can pick up any shots at all, now you're starting to get into that elite group up at the top. And you can build on that by learning how to come into those holes a little bit better. So if you've been playing a pro and having success, absolutely, you will do well, but when you go out and you start watching expert videos for tournament prep and you're watching Tommy or Fenzel or any of these other guys that do expert, and I don't do expert, and you're watching them do those shots, there are awesome shots that you can do in expert, but some of them, there's a lot of max overpower hooks. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in expert that you can't get done in pro or in rookie. Sometimes we can do a similar shot in rookie because we're on the first tee instead of the second tee, but there are shots that you can do in expert that you can't do in pro. And so what happens is people they start seeing all that stuff and they start going exclusively for those high risk shots instead of just going, hey, look, if I went out here and played this course and put myself in that spot right there, I have a pretty good shot. And you can come out with the minimum, and a shot here and there makes a huge difference. they will go out there and get really risky. So if you go up and you play smart, you could end up being, you can start off in the top 25, top 30, and then you can start to build on that week to week. So absolutely, if you feel like you want to move up, you should move up. Matt Peck, I played for 3 years. You're totally right about getting into Masters. I got all the way up to level 3 expert and all the way to 16th place in the weekly board, and was closing in on being, where is that? Closing in on being master ever since then. I've been in and out of expert 1 and pro 3. And so, yeah, if you're trying to go up the scale and you want to be, masters 3, masters 2, masters 1, expert 3, when you're trying to go up the scale, it's all about tour play. So, you can almost do when you're up here in masters 3, you've got to be playing those people that are at the top up here every week, that are at the top of the Masters bracket and their divisional bracket. Those people are playing for the bragging rights to be up there, not to get promoted. But to get into that, it's pretty much T12, T11, T10, T9. So when you get to T9 is when you're going to start to be breaking into that Masters if you're really successful. I suppose you could play Tour 8 and be in a weaker divisional bracket and play a ton, but typically you're going to be seeing people who are getting into Masters are in T9. And once they get into T10, then they've gotten into that point. So anybody who's had a Masters rating, if you're playing down here in rookie, you're still going to be playing against Masters because you've been at the Masters level. My odd account span was at Masters level for 6 months. So, any bracket that I play in, I can look in the rookie and I can see how you can see based off of people's stats, like where they've been. And every single person in my weekend bracket is an expert player. Well said. If you can't beat them, join them. I don't know that it's necessarily a thing about can't beat them, join them, because I know that when the Notebook app came out, I got the notification and I went and watched Zach's video and I went and bought the app. I can't even remember how much it costs. It's not that much. It's like $2.50 or $3. It's not cost prohibitive. And set it up on there, and I started using it. It's a commitment. And so if you're working with those numbers, and it doesn't matter what numbers you're working with, because we don't know the absolute math. If we have any system that runs off of this stuff, if you're playing those numbers, and based on those numbers, it's stated that you need to do a 10% wind adjustment. You need to do a 10% wind adjustment. Because that's the way that those numbers go. So I think a lot of my viewers listen to it, and I think maybe for everybody on the team, everybody that listens to the channel, everybody that's in the Kings of Golf, everybody who's in clans that follow the channel, and get your clan involved. If you like my content and you're in a clan, get your clan involved in the deal so that we can try and help each other out to get better and better at the game. I think the whiners are the same ones who got a trophy for showing up to Little League when they were kids, and they never learned that it actually takes work to be a real winner. And what I want to know is, like, when somebody complains about, like, they flame somebody, they post some player's profile on Facebook or in social media, and they call them a cheater, or they call them a sandbagger, or they call them some derogatory name because they won the bracket that person was in. The most important question that I would want to ask them to get an answer and get a truthful answer is that what was your score? What did you shoot? So if they tell me that, hey, I shot a 23, the deal is that it wouldn't matter if that person was in your bracket or not. You wouldn't have been at the top. They just happened to be the one that was the top. Were you the guy that came in second and this guy beat you? Because the guy who came in second is ticked, I can guarantee you, but the guy who came in second is probably not out there flaming that guy. The guy who came in second is pissed that he lost, and probably pissed because he knows or she knows that they could have done this or that and could have won. And so I don't know that I don't know that anybody who's in the top 10, top 15 on a weekly basis, any of those players, I would hope that they're not the ones out there flaming, because anybody who's in the top 10 week after week, you're going to get wins. It may be a lot, it may be some here and there, but you're going to get wins. If you're a consistent top 10 player, you're going to get wins. And if you're not, I think a lot of the people who are whining are the ones who are shooting a 22 or a 23 and like, man, those scores are absolutely impossible. I mean, it's easy to figure out what the minimum score is. And if you can't get to the minimum score, then what were your odds of winning any tournament? Everybody's looking for an easier bracket, and I don't know that there's any such thing as an easier bracket. Some brackets it took less to win last tournament, and some brackets it took more, and that's just how that works. Anything in the last tournament, if you shot higher than a -24, you had a shot at a win. And depending on your bracket, it may have taken only a 25 to win, and in some brackets it may have taken a 32 to win. But you know, somewhere in that range there. And so if you weren't in that stuff, I doubt that those people are the ones who are whining. It's the people who are coming in 60th and 80th who shot a 22 and never had a shot at a win. And I'm not saying that bad, because the whole deal is, my whole deal is I'm trying to find players like that who are tired of losing and want to at least understand the basic stuff on this game so that you can shoot that minimum score with your eyes closed, and every single hole you're shooting in a shot that can potentially go in so that you can get into the top 10 and you can get those banners that you wanted, but you just have to put in the time and actually learn how to play the game. I can't make people do that. I'm just putting out content and hoping that people, you know, appreciate me trying to help them, and you know, and hopefully I am helping. Talking about the apps here, I have both apps and use them, but I can play without them. I just choose not to. But if PD really cared about so-called cheating apps, they would ban a lot of those big name streamers who use them on camera. But instead they turn a blind eye, which, yeah, and I was talking to Hammer and Hank earlier today, and we were talking about the app. So like, you know, like if you're running the Golf Clash Notebook app at the same time, so if you're running the wind assist and you've got this icon over here, you know, a lot of those people that are running that extra app, they're running it on either another tablet, or they're running it on their phone, or they're running it on something else other than whatever device they're playing on. So you don't see it over there like on a lot of them like you used to. So they're running it on a separate device. I can almost totally get that, because the deal there is that what the heck is going on here? The deal there is that I can almost understand that, because if you were out playing real golf, you can have, like, you can't bring training aids out with you when you're on the course, and you can bring a rangefinder that can't do elevation, but it can tell you like it's 152 yards or 160 or whatever. So not having this overlay the game, I can understand that. I can deal with that. So, but you just have to. So the thing there is you just need another device. But the grid, on the other hand, this grid is very nice. So let me see if I can get, let's find a video here where I'm playing.
Gorgeous one-on-one with that.
I'm playing my teammate Ryan Chastity here. I actually haven't watched this video. I recorded it and was talking, and let's see if when we approach the ball, kind of how it looks here. So first right here, you can see where the wind's blowing, and you can see how the wind is wobbling. Okay, watch the wind, watch the needle over here in the screen. Okay, I can't get my pen while I'm watching a video in it, but you can see the arrow, the wind arrow, and watch that needle wobble along that red line. So I'm going to talk about I'm going to shoot a video on that 11:59, 12:01 and start playing around with that, but I definitely want that line over there. And I'm still working on the positioning of that line to try and make sure that I'm dead center in the middle of that when I'm addressing it, that line is dead center in the middle of that arrow. So if you are doing the 1159 or 1201, you're right on it. And another thing that I do like about this grid, and something that I've actually been bitching about for a long time, is these curl lines. So the curl lines that are on there, I think when it first came out, it didn't have those curl lines on there. There was a grid, but it didn't have the curl lines. But those curl lines, you can now tell, like if you're doing, like if you say you're doing, if I say I'm doing 3 bars of curl, that's on its smallest setting. The problem with using the Golf Clash Notebook grid is that you have to have the app up in order to use it. So while I like this grid and I like the way it is right there, and I made some adjustments, and you can put some other lines on here. But I think I'm going to have to find another one to in order to get that right. So yeah, going back to the question, let me turn that to. So yeah, I'm probably going to use the Golf Clash Notebook app, but I'm going to do it. I'll run it on another device, but I'm going to have to find one, because I'm definitely going to start doing the deal with the arrow. I'm gonna start exploring that, because I know for a fact that there's holes that you can get on where no matter what you do, you're right here, or no matter what you do, you're right there. And there's some variable in the game, because every now and then you'll catch it and you'll be right in the cup. And so your tendency, just your normal tendency of setting the shot up, may be so that if you have the arrow here, your tendency when looking at it, or my tendency when looking at it, is I may always be looking at it at a slight angle like this, or I may always be looking at it at a slight angle like this, and I'm thinking that it's straight. And so I'm always pointed at 1159, and you're always pointed at 1201. And so on those shots where 1201 will go in, you're always in the cup. And no matter what I change in my setup, I'm always off. And so I think that I see that happen out on the course, where there's times when I will catch it and it's like, bam, what the heck? That was so freaking easy. Why doesn't it do this every time? And I've always thought that there's just some slight little variable down there that we're not accounting for. And I really think that this is it. So I think the guy who was talking about this, the original guy, and I should have caught his name, but it looked like a bootleg video, but it wasn't. I need to, mention his name, because that was definitely awesome. And let's go find him. I think the guy's got it on here. Yeah, it's the last one right here. So we're talking about the grid line. So this is the first one that popped up. So talking about grid lines will improve your game, because it is a straighter line and you can pull more rings at once. So yeah, that using the grid, I absolutely agree on the grid. I thought about using the grid for a long time, and I know that you can get secondary grids that aren't in the Golf Clash Notebook app, but I just didn't do it. But I'm going to do it now. But doing the 12, when you click on this video, let's click on this video. When you click on this video, it says not found, but we come down here to the end. There's 3 dots that were on the end. This is the actual line. I'm going to post this on here. I'm going to copy. That's the actual video that you want to go to. Daniel MacArthur. Yeah, so this is the great deal here. I'll post it on here right now. Let's go down to that one. Whatever the heck that one was. I will find it and post it on there for you guys. Talking about big issue I have with matchmaking and tour play is being paired against higher level players. Who dump trophies. The deal there with the dumping trophies is, it's the reason that people dump trophies. I'm sure for like tournament wise, you feel like if you dump trophies and you're trying to get to a certain point. It's like getting the Guardian. You get the Guardian in the store when you got about 1,500 trophies. So if you got 1277, so you're in a kind of a lower bracket, even though you may be a pro rookie or an expert rookie, you're going to be in a little bit lower bracket because of how many trophies you have. But I think that the way that they're doing it is that your max trophies. I don't think the trophy dumping is as effective anymore. The only thing I will say about trophy dumping is that when you're, so like my odd account, I dumped a ton of trophies, a couple thousand trophies. My whole goal was not to get into better brackets. My whole goal was to try and get to Tour 7 and have real live play, because I couldn't get any real live play below Tour. I could get some in Tour 9, but like when you got to Tour 8, I never play against a real human. It's gotten better because there's a lot more people that play. But a year and a half ago, there wasn't a lot of people. So if I wanted to play my odd account and I wanted to play like Tour 7, Tour 8, Tour 9 down in there, only in Tour 9 could I ever get live opponents. So when I was practicing for tournaments or trying to demo tournament holes, I couldn't get live play down there. And I play this game so I can play against other humans, not so I can play against replays. I think the thing about, there's just players that are like my 77 account. I only play up to Tour 7. So, I mean, I have all the clubs that I have, and I've never played anything over Tour 7. And so it's just from, playing good in the tournaments and getting a lot of club cards and never playing without an open slot. You could say that I buy clubs because I open up chests a lot, because I won't go out and play if I don't have open slots. And so you're going to run into people that have much better clubs in regular play. But I will tell you that my 99 account has T4 clubs, and they're getting to be about mid-level T4 clubs. I mean, I got an EM6, but I've got a lot of my commons to level 9, and I'm working on getting them maxed out. And I only have T4 clubs that I can go out there and play against my bigger clubs. And there are some shots that I can't do, but to go out there and give myself the same opportunity to force a shootout, I can do just as well with those clubs. But I get what you're saying. Can't be in the journal. Let's go see. Where do we got? We got any other good ones that are on here? Hammer and Hank. If you didn't catch my What's Cheating, Hammer and Hank him and Tommy did a dual stream. Tommy interviewed him right here. The Tommy Golf Clash Tommy live stream. Tommy meets Hank Morris, Hammer and Hank. Hank was actually, he said he didn't think that it was on Tommy's channel, but I told him that it was. So it's there you go. Got interviewed by the big guy. I like Tommy's stuff. I learned this is how it worked for me. Tommy, at the very beginning, when you went and you put in anything in YouTube about this, there was a video by Tommy, and he looked like he was about 35 years old in that video. I don't know. His hair was so slick back. I don't even know. I thought at first his accent on that video did not sound like what he looks like here and the picture. But he had this video out that talked about club levels, because we had no idea what the clubs were going to be at the next level. It showed what they were going to be max, but we had no idea. We had no idea whether we should be putting whatever into whatever. And so literally as the game was growing out and people were getting a level 8 or a level 6 or a level 5, people were posting those things because we didn't know. So we were all kind of keeping, and Golf Clash originally had a forum, and that forum, they were in there. Let's go do something instead of sitting there. I think we're all done with the question and answer period. I got all kinds of apps open. I should open that grid back up. But there was a video from Tommy, and they went through all of the clubs. So it's kind of the first time you ever got to see the clubs. Now there's so much information out there with Golf Clash Notebook that you shouldn't have any excuse for having access to stuff. All right. Wow, it's going to pause up on me. I think I opened up my, my club card trading. Nope. Okay, let's see what I got today. We'll end the video with this. We'll see what we get. See if I get anything good. Okay, we got a B-52, a Hornet, and a Thorn. The B-52 or the Hornet. So the whole deal is that the only rare that I really want to get to level 9 that isn't already at level 9. So the only ones I have up there right now, as far as like ones that count, are the Goliath, Big Dog, Extra Mile. So really the Hornet at level 9, it gets 100% accurate and it gets some ball guide. And those are two things that I want more of on my short iron. And I use the Hornet as my short iron. I know when the B-52 gets to a certain point, it overtakes the Hornet. But that commitment to go to try and get it, let's see how many levels we got to get it to before it gets better than the Hornet. Got like 70 things open. Ordering postcards. Let's see, B-52. Is that a long iron? That's a long iron, right? So my B-52, right now I'm using a Grizzly, so these are the ones that are comparing up. My Grizzly is at level 8, and it's the only other club that, like, if I was going to upgrade one, I would upgrade it, but it doesn't get at level 9. The Grizzly doesn't get, I mean, it's negligible, the stuff that you get at level 9 versus a level 8, and it's not worth putting the points into anymore. So we're looking at level 8 at 126 and 146. So 126, it's already got more distance all the way along. Accuracy, this one doesn't get there until it gets to level 7. 46 to 50. B-52 is better. 58 backspin, 64. I don't find that well, long iron, that'd be pretty good. Curl's a big thing for me with a long iron. I like that ball guide at 4.5. But even when it's up here, unless I wanted, I don't know. I mean, I think that that's a close call, just depending on the way you like to play. I know one thing I don't like about the B-52 is I don't like the max distance, because that means that my red line between my wood and my long iron and my wood is almost non-existent. And I like to have a little bit of a red line distance there. If I'm having an issue with where I'm at in my red line, I'll either bring out a different ball or I'll hit it to a different spot. So I think the Grizzly is the club that I'm really like working on there, and I'm not a Thorn fan. And there's nothing wrong with the Thorn. The Thorn has, and let's go look at the Thorn there, because it has great. I think when it gets up there, it's got pretty good. Where is the Thorn? Oh, I have to look in short irons. Duh. Hello. Let's see what the Thorn gets when it gets to level 9. It's 4.4 versus my Hornet at 4.1. So it does have a little bit better ball guide, but for me, that 100% accuracy, the deal with the 100% backspin, I don't often come in with my short iron with 100% backspin. I like to find another way to do it. And when I need a higher backspin, I've been using the claw just because it has better accuracy. But the ball guide, it's nice when it has 4.2 ball guide. All right, that was just a little video talking about the questions that I get on my YouTube channel and trying to answer some of those a little bit better than writing it out. All right, thanks for watching.